Not now.
Sorry, I had to take a phone call from my nephew. I didn't know why he was calling me, but it's because he just received the birthday gift for his son. So I'm like, why is he calling me? That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
All right, we have like one person I let in. 4 more minutes, so should get some. Jeanette, can you unmute Jeanette for a sec?
Oh, sorry, I thought my camera was on. Hi.
No, that's okay. I saw your I wanted to make sure, did you post the parent meeting last night to the website yet or no?
For this parent meeting?
No, last night's.
Oh, I did that this morning.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't check. I just wanted to make sure because we had a lot of parents asking to make sure that we post that. So,
yep, it's there.
I should know better. Right on the ball. Right on the ball. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I saw you said that you would want to work this summer. That's great. I need lots of teachers. Everyone who's available, all hands on deck.
I would be happy to work as much as you need me to.
Oh, you're great. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I'm trying to figure out if we're going to have to do a virtual option for ESY too. In addition to,
I didn't even think of that.
Well, right now, the governor's executive order says that we have to, but last summer, right before the summer program, he left it up to districts because, every county is not in the same situation.
Yes.
So he left it up to districts to decide what they wanted to do, but he sent out guidance today, but he didn't talk about summer at all in the guidance. He's only talking about September.
I heard September they're not going to offer virtual in September.
No virtual in September.
I saw.
It was just released today.
I saw people were complaining. Then there should be masks should not be required if they're not offering virtual.
I know. I guess we're gonna have to wait to see about that. Yeah.
Well, September's a long way away, right?
It is. That's what I was saying last night in our ESY presentation was, I don't really want to be nailed down about what's going to be happening in July because I don't know what's going to be happening in July. I just don't know. So I don't know how we're going to do lunches yet and, things like that because we could be in a completely different situation by then. So
let's hope it's a positive change in situation.
Yes. That's what I mean when I say that, Karen. I'm an optimist.
I'm still a little nervous with some of these numbers in New Jersey.
I know it's very scary.
Numbers are lower than us. I'm still a little nervous, but I'm just hoping that it changes quickly.
I'm just hoping with everybody getting the vaccination that starts to tamp down a little bit, but
yeah,
it's been a year, that's for sure, right? All right. Well, I don't see anybody looking to get in. Let's see.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I don't see anybody waiting to get in. We're going to give it another minute with the rain. Well, it's 6:29, so yeah, let's give it another minute or two.
Kristen, I don't think I'm going to be able to meet tomorrow morning because I probably have to be a teacher in a classroom. So.
Understood. Understood. We'll get it done, Jackie. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I will.
Just let me know.
I'll shoot you an email in the morning, just on the off chance I don't. But I'll let you know.
I understand. I understand. Let's just get to spring break, right? Let's just get to spring break and hopefully things will be better when we get back. I don't see anybody reading, so let's give it another minute or two. I know I'm having satellite and internet issues with this rain. Yes, that guidance from the governor just came out today about the no virtual for next school year.
Meaning no virtual option? Is that what?
No virtual option for parents.
Okay.
It's no virtual option. I don't think that means that we can't continue to offer things like home instruction virtually or additional services virtually. I don't know. Like I haven't dug down into what he said yet. Oh, here's somebody who wants to get in. Here we go. Hi, Walter. I didn't think you were going to make it.
I'm going to start because I want to hear it, and then I have to leave
Okay.
about 9:45.
Okay, fabulous. All right, it's 6:32. I want to give another minute just in case people are trying to get in with the weather. Okay, and Sarah's presenting from her closet today.
Really nice.
Hiding from her kids. It's a nice closet. My closet
I was just
does
thinking
not
the
look
same
like
thing.
that.
It's a really nice closet.
Jamie's taking care of the kids. She doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
If you heard what was happening.
All been there, done that. Whew. That's a lot of work. That's the one thing, like, you know, with this virtual stuff, like parents having to be home with their kids and having to work and educate oh my goodness, everyone's going to be so relieved about September.
It's true.
Everyone, teachers included. So much more work for you guys doing the virtual and the in-person at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to announce everybody. I'm going to announce the presentation. I think that we've had enough time. I'll continue to let people in as they request. Many times people continue to come in. Somebody else just popped in now. Sometimes people continue to come in while the presentation is going on and they request to come in, and I'll continue to let them in. There's somebody now. So tonight we have a presentation on self-regulation, and we have presenters are Jacqueline Janik, Sarah White, and I think Barry, right? Barry Azzarello are presenting this evening. Okay, so I'll turn the presentation over to them. I'm going to mute myself and just monitor the Google Meet, and you guys can go ahead and get started.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our self-regulation in preschool presentation. My name is Jacqueline Janik. I'm the master teacher and PreK coordinator at Warren H. Wolf. I'm presenting with Barry Azzarello, the master teacher at Herbertsville, and Sarah White, the OT in preschool, one of the OTs in preschool. So you may be asking yourself, what is self-regulation anyway? So self-regulation is the ability of children and adults to exert control over their attention, thoughts, and behaviors in order to achieve a goal. Children control their behavior to achieve goals in two ways. One, by inhibiting behaviors that will impede a goal, and two, by performing behaviors that align with the goal. In school every day, children are required to exert self-regulation if they are to benefit from the learning experiences in the classroom. For example, Children must inhibit their desire to continue with one activity when it's time to shift to something else, but they must also fully engage their attention in each learning activity as it occurs. So some examples of abilities is sitting still, keeping their hands to themselves, taking turns, sharing, managing their emotions, staying focused, and completing tasks. So these are just a couple slides of what self-regulation looks like with and without self-regulation. So without self-regulation, children have a hard time waiting, sharing materials and toys. They may know the rules, but they can't inhibit behaviors like grabbing or pushing. And then with self-regulation, children can take turns, share materials, and wait for their turn. They can use strategies like asking for something they want or playing with something else while they wait. Without self-regulation, children have a difficult time with transitions like cleanup or bedtime, ending something they want to do and doing something they don't want to do. And I'm sure we've all been there before. They melt down, find it difficult to stop, transition to a new thing. But with self-regulation, children can manage a transition time like bedtime or cleanup time, even when they are disappointed that a fun time is coming to an end. So you might hear them say, "Oh, I don't want to clean up." And we can have conversations saying, "I know it's not fun to clean up, but we're going to go on and do something else. So let's clean up so we can see what else is going to happen today." And then they can get over that. Young children may still need support, but self-regulation is what's needed to be successful at this. Children without self-regulation may not be able to stay seated and listen to a story or sit through dinner or a game. So we'll often have students laying on the carpet, rolling around. So sometimes they are still listening, but their bodies can't self-regulate. But children with self-regulation can control their attention enough to listen to a story, play a game, and sit through a meal. Their attention may wander, but they can bring it back to the task at hand.
Okay, so in tools, our curriculum that we use at school, Tools of the Mind, we have a bunch of activities. Pretty much everything we do in our program has a self-regulation piece. So this first slide talks about our freeze dance, which some of your kids might come home and do some crazy poses. We have a little video to show you of the freeze dance. So what happens is the kids dance around while the music's playing. When the music stops, they have to freeze, but they have to freeze in a pose that the teacher shows them. So we'll watch a little clip right now so you can see what it looks like.
I just want to say as far as this clip, right before the first freeze, you could see the different self-regulations in each kid. So we'll talk about it after. See if you could see the different self-regulations in that classroom.
Now here's a game that's kind of neat. Just get your body in the beat. But when you hear the music quit, don't want to see you move a bit. Now you can dance any way you please, but listen closely for the cues.
So it was just a little clip. I just wanted, if you noticed, so like this little boy in gray, he was pointing and trying to tell other students, like, look, you gotta look because we're gonna freeze. And then this little girl, she had her self-regulation was, I have to be ready for it. She like couldn't wait, but then the rest of them could. They all had different degrees of self-regulation. I only noticed it last night too, so I thought it was very interesting.
And all the activities we're going to talk about today, you can incorporate at home as well. So a freeze dance, the big thing with the freeze dance is it's got to be a predictive freeze. So that's why we use this one, Greg and Steve's freeze dance, because the freeze happens at the same time every time. So they know it's coming, and that helps with their self-regulation because they can predict when they have to stop. The next activity is pattern movement. So we use pattern cards that have different shapes on them. So the the pattern card might have square, circle, square, circle, square, circle. And before the activity starts, the teacher and the kids designate that every time you see a square, you're going to put your hands on your head. Every time you see a circle, you're going to put your hands on your knees. So as the card changes and they see the different shapes, they have to remember, not only do they have to follow the pattern, but they have to remember the movements that are associated with that pattern. And play plans, you can see the two pictures on the screen. Those are two examples of play plans. So every day before we do make believe play, the kids make a plan. What is your plan today? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What are you going to be? So they draw their picture, they write their message, and every kid in our program is at a different level of play planning. So some kids are still drawing just their picture. Some kids are writing full words. And then the big self-regulation piece is that once their plan is done, they need to go to their area, their center that they chose, and actually follow through with their plan. So if they're going to go, we're doing pet vet now. So if they're going to go to the dog groomer and they're going to wash the dog, they draw their picture and then they actually go and follow through with that plan and wash the dog. The next activity, we have another video for you, making collections. So making collections is a great counting activity that we do with our kids. And when we do making collections, you'll see the boy in the video has a check card in his hand. He is the checker. So his partner has a hand card, and it literally is a picture of a hand. And that child is doing the work first. They're counting, and the child with the check card is the checker. And they interact with each other. They ask, check please. And then the person with the check card actually does check the counting. So we can watch and see these guys in action here.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All righty, go ahead, count your chips. How many do you need?
1, 2. I'm on the doctor. 4, 5, 6.
All right, keep
I'm
going.
on the doctor. 7, 8,
All right. What do you say to Bowen? All right, go ahead, Bo. Check his work. See if you got it right. Keep going.
All you need is 4 more left. Or 5 more left.
You're right, Eden.
Can you write? Then when I did this, all the way to
How many do you have now?
3 more.
Keep counting. How many more do you need?
That's mine.
All right.
Check. No.
So you get it right?
Yeah.
All right. What do you say to Eden? Say, good job.
Good job.
You got it right. Watch.
5, 6.
Okay, so that was making collections. And buddy reading is another activity. We use lips and ears cards. So kids pair up with a friend. They each pick their own book that they're going to read. And one child has the lips card, which means that they're the reader, and the other child has the ears card, which means they're listening. So the kid with the lips card reads their book first. So they go through their book, they talk about their book, talk about the pictures, and then while they're reading, their partner is listening, and then they swap cards. And then the other child gets to be the reader while the other kid listens. And songs, we know that's the picture of the tree there. Every class has a tree with a bunch of songs and finger plays that they know. And these are great to refocus attention. So if you're having a time when maybe it's a transition and you need everybody to focus, you can pull a song right off your song tree. The kids know the songs. They've learned them since the beginning of the year, and that brings everybody back together. Okay. We also do story lab. So the picture on the left, you can see the teacher is holding a big card in her hand. This is for our story lab, which is a time that we read a story and we focus on one aspect of the story. So some of the story labs we do are active listening. So the teacher might say, what's your favorite part of the story? So while you're listening to the story, I want you to think about what's your favorite part. We do story extensions where we continue on a story. So Brown Bear is a great story for that. brown bear, what do you see? I see a green frog looking at me. And then at the end of the story, the kids create their own page of the story. So they might pick gray fish, what do you see? So they extend the story. So those cards are a visual representation of what the kids are going to be listening for in every story lab. Do What I Do is an attention focusing activity that we use. So again, a transition time where maybe the kiddos aren't really as focused as they need to be. The teacher might say, touch your nose, touch your head, touch your nose, touch your head. And the kids start following, and they're saying, touch your nose, touch your head, and they're doing the action along with it. And that brings everybody back together. Remember and replicate, you'll see the picture at the top. That's a Play-Doh activity where we do different shapes. We make snakes, balls, and pancakes, and we put them in different orders. And with this also, we use that hand and check card. So the teacher gets the hand first and the kids get the hand second, and they copy what the teacher is doing from memory. You'll notice the teacher's card is actually covered up, so it's practicing memory. And every card has a black dot at the top. That's where the Play-Doh goes. So, and while the teacher is showing, the kids put the Play-Doh on the dot and the Play-Doh stays there. So another self-regulation piece, because otherwise there'd be Play-Doh everywhere. And class rules at the bottom, that picture, every classroom at the very beginning of the year, usually the first day, we talk about our class rules, and they are 4 or 5 class rules in every classroom. They're simple. They are paired with a picture so that they know what's expected of them every day. And, the first couple months of school, we might visit our rules all the time. And then as the time goes on, the kiddos know their rules. And then maybe after a vacation, after a break, or if we're having we're just having one of those crazy days, we always look back to those rules and remind ourselves what we're supposed to be doing. And share the news, another mediator card that we hang in our classrooms. So during our opening group, there's usually a topic. I was in a classroom the other day, and it was who takes care of your pet at your house if you have a pet. And everybody's answer was mom. Of course, moms are always taking care of the pets. So this tells you exactly the steps that you need to take in order to share the news. So you make sure everybody has a partner, listen to the topic, think of something to say, and then share with your partner. So you'll notice the picture on the left there of all the kids, they're sitting feet to feet. That's one of the modifications we made this year. Sometimes they sit side by side. This year we've been doing feet to feet. And those black and white drawings are all they need to remember what they're supposed to be doing to keep them on task. And also the daily schedule. So everybody knows what's next. It's posted in the classroom. It changes as it needs to change. And when kids need a reminder of what's coming next, or some kids really like to know what the next activity is, or when lunch is, or when we get to go outside. So that gives them a visual representation of what's coming up. Again, daily schedule you can do at home. You can make and it doesn't have to be fancy. Black and white drawings are great. Stick figures, perfect. And make your schedule of when you get up in the morning. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to eat my breakfast. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to get my backpack and go to school. So those are all things that you can do in your house as well. And here's one of our self-regulation games that we play later in the year. It's called Mousetrap. And you follow the music, and when the music stops, if you're in that circle, you can see the kids all holding hands. If you're trapped in the circle when the music stops, you are out. And when you're outside of the circle, you're free. So we can watch a little video on that. So in that video, the last one, what are you doing, Mr. Wolf? The code phrase is, I'm brushing my teeth. So Mr. Wolf or Mrs. Wolf, depending on the teacher, when they are doing things like he was brushing his shoulder or he was tying his shoe, the kids ask, what are you doing, Mr. Wolf? But until he says, I'm brushing my teeth, they're trying to get as close to him as they can. And then when he says, I'm brushing my teeth, he can catch them. So they want to try and get past him without getting caught. So another self-regulation game that you can play. And we also use pretend transitions. This focuses on a physical action that matches up with private speech to inhibit other actions. So when we're doing a transition in and out of the classroom, it doesn't matter. You'll see kids walking who are rocking the baby. So they're rocking the baby, and they'll say they rock the baby, and they say, I'm rocking the baby, I'm rocking the baby. Or maybe they're walking the dog. While they're doing that, they're focusing on the private speech that they're saying to themselves and the action that they're doing. And that inhibits them from doing things they're not supposed to be doing, and keeps them focused and keeps their bodies regulated to make those transitions that they need to make. All right, so I'm going to pass off to Sarah. She's going to talk about the next part.
Hello, everyone. So a lot of what you've been hearing that we do at Preschool and Tools of the Mind is a lot of inhibition, impulse control, attending skills, and being able to kind of go throughout their day with, I guess, like keeping it together and using appropriate behavior to accomplish various goals. And really at this point, socially, we want them to understand that, you know, we have these social expectations and what social norms are. So you might have a kid, my children, as an example, you know, who quote, like hold it all together. They're behaving, you know, they're engaging appropriately throughout the day. And then you get them from the bus or from pickup and they're just like, you know, they fall apart and they melt down because they've really been, they're self-regulating throughout their day. They're doing what is expected of them throughout their day and with their teachers and their peers, and they're understanding those concepts. If I behave and participate this way, you know, look at these relationships I'm forming and look how other people are reacting to me. So they know that when they see mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, that they can kind of like let it all out, and you know that dysregulation kind of naturally occurs. So I really want to take this part of the presentation to highlight what we're doing at school as far as teaching kids to better self-regulate, but I also want to bring it home to you guys to kind of understand and give you guys tips and tricks on why they might be falling apart or having difficulty regulating themselves and what you could do to kind of help them do that. So we utilize a program called the Zones of Regulation, and it really fosters that self-regulation, developing those self-regulation skills and emotional control. Okay. This is a great quick little video that I just feel like encompasses the whole program, and then I can go further into how you can use it at home.
Blue, green, yellow, and red. These are the colors used to help students at Marie Sharp recognize and regulate their actions.
It's based on just 4 zones, and so it simplifies the emotions that we experience, the whole range of emotions that we experience, and identifies just 4 major ones. And so we're looking at the sadness in the blue zone, we're looking at happiness in the green zone. The yellow zone is where you're starting to feel agitated or frustrated, and of course the red zone would then be the zone where people are angry and where their emotions is very elevated. And then what we're looking for eventually is to, you know, build a toolbox. So when you're in a zone which is expected or unexpected, that you have some tools in your toolbox to bring you back down to a more manageable zone.
It's called the Zones of Regulation program, and by giving students these tools, it will not only reduce negative behavior, but also aid in preventing bullying.
It is a bullying prevention program because we are teaching healthy relationships, healthy eating, you know, just maintaining that healthy disposition fosters an environment, a nurturing environment where it's easy to learn.
It's pretty concrete, and if I say, okay, now we all need to be in the green zone, they're learning what that is so that they're focused and ready to learn.
Marie Sharp started integrating this program in October, and while it was offered to only a select number of students at first, it quickly expanded.
We started actually with focusing on our most vulnerable kids that had behavioral issues in the classroom, and that seemed to work with those students. But when they went back into the classroom, they knew all the vocabulary and the language behind the zones, and the other kids in the classroom didn't know the language, so they weren't kind of able to support those kids further, right? So we decided as a staff that we should go into the classrooms and teach this to the entire class, because I'm a big believer in whatever works for your most vulnerable students is going to work for all of your students.
I have seen, it's going, and they can recognize zones. And if I say, you know, I'm in the yellow zone or I'm in the green zone, then they can, I think it's just really concrete, and it gives them something that they can base themselves on.
Today, students like Ms. Fennell's grade 3 class learn their zones of regulations inside and outside of the classroom all school year.
If we do it all year, then the kids, it becomes part of their being. It becomes part of their practice. And so practicing every day just allows them to expect that every day. They expect that sort of behavior from everybody. It's just not hit one time. It's expected behavior throughout the school. And so every day they know what to expect.
Sometimes you have to teach stuff 50 times before they get it. So one shot deal in one day, but this is over and over again. So it just sort of becomes a habit.
I get on the announcements and ask the students, you know, the staff member that's up on the board, what zone are they in? And so kids are going to the board. They're quite excited about it. Go to the board, figure that out, and they come down and tell me. I put a little bit of a reward in it for the first couple that come down to the office, but now kids are just talking to me just because they want to let me know they know which zone that the staff member is in.
And the program is only getting bigger.
I had a PAC member shared a story where she was frustrated with her daughter because they weren't cleaning up after themselves, and her daughter went to her and said, "Mom, are you in a yellow zone?" And then she started asking her daughter more about the zones of regulation program. And so that conversation is happening at home too, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get the conversation out to, you know, beyond the walls of the school, out to parents, and also out into the community.
Teachers are hoping programs like the Zones of Regulations will not only help their students in learning, but also promote positive attitudes in the school system.
So as you can see, it's very concrete. It gives, I think you can go to the next slide. It's a teaching tool that gives them ways to identify and express to others how they're feeling or what their emotion is and what zone they're in. By just saying, you know, I'm in the green zone, I'm calm, I'm ready to learn. What does that look like? It is not a discipline model, so it's not necessarily, they shouldn't feel, if they are in the red zone and they're really upset about something, that they're going to get in trouble. We're really hoping that it's more nurturative in nature, and that one can say, you know, in the blue zone, I'm really sad, which is a normal emotion to feel. You know, if a kid is sad that, you know, grandma and grandpa aren't going to pick them up from school today, they're really sad about it. You know, they all have these big emotions, and we all do. We're all human, and we're just trying to let them express themselves so that they can better manage themselves and self-regulate throughout the day and participate in their daily routines. Okay, next slide. And why are we using zones of regulation in preschool? Well, because in early education creates an important foundation for academic skills. We know, you would be surprised that to know that social skills are actually far more predictive of outcomes into adulthood than early academics. So, you know, someone can be really academically bright, but if they're lacking in their ability to self-regulate, you know, their success in the future might really be impacted. We hope to foster this development of self-regulation to manage themselves in more expected ways and situations. So we're teaching them right now to just at this level to really, again, I'm saying it over and over, but getting them to identify what certain feelings are. You know, sometimes we say happy, sad, mad. Like we're really increasing their understanding of a variety of emotions. So if they're transitioning from one center or they're not able to go to one center, they might be experiencing an emotion frustration. They're frustrated. So we might use those words and say, I understand that you're feeling frustrated right now. This, you know, this is what you chose. Explain what that emotion is that they might be feeling through their own cues of what their behavior was. We're also trying to get them to understand that when they're feeling a certain way, that might be a tool or a strategy to get them to, you know, participate in the classroom or get through their routines. So we're teaching them personal triggers, when to use a tool and how to use a tool. We're teaching them to problem solve positively instead of negatively, and understand how their emotions, this is a big thing, getting them to understand how their behavior influences others' thoughts and feelings about themselves. So there's that social piece too. So if they're so frustrated that they can't do something or have to end an activity and, you know, they're on the floor kicking and screaming or rolling around, you know, what does that look like? They might start to realize, oh, when I was really mad and I was in the red zone, you know, my friends did not want to, you know, play with me or talk to me later on. So they might start to understand and link that thought process so that it can impact their social skills also. Okay, so here are the zones, like it was explained in the video. So blue, and no, we're also teaching the kids that no zone is bad. We all experience these zones. I've experienced every single one of these today, actually. So we might all be feeling blue zone emotions, which are sad or sick or tired or bored, lonely, shy, disappointed, or just low energy. And if we're feeling that way and we're, you know, waking up in the morning and we don't want to go to school, you know, what tool could we use to get ourselves ready for school? So maybe it's doing a couple of animal, you know, walks to the closet to go get our clothes on, or doing a couple jumps to get our bodies awake. What do we do as an adult? You know, I know that I need a shower. If I don't take a shower, I'm kind of like sluggish all day. So think about yourself also, you know, and your child when they're in the blue zone. What kind of tools do you use to help you self-regulate? The green zone is more of those happy, ready to learn, thankful, proud, organized, focused, and that just right energy. This is a lot of the, you know, what we want to see are everyone all day long, which is impossible. But, you know, we want to achieve that optimal state of arousal. Yellow zone is more frustrated, worried, silly, scared, excited, uncomfortable, a little anxious. Those are like, we're starting to be a little more high level of activity or high arousal level, but just not yet at red. Yellow is an appropriate zone to be in for like the video that Miss Barry was showing of the male teacher who was, you know, getting all the kids. They were all like excited and high energy, or maybe the freeze dance, they're in a yellow zone. You know, they're silly, they're excited, but they're still able to participate appropriately. So there's kind of like appropriate emotions in certain contexts. It would be inappropriate for them to be in the blue zone, you know, really sluggish and slow during that activity. One might think like, oh, what's wrong with that kiddo? So those are yellow zone. And red zone, these are really your out of control, really angry, terrified, yelling, mad emotions. So one might appropriately feel that way if someone was to get hurt or they saw, you know, a car crash or something really traumatic. You know, that would be a normal emotion to experience. So we would need to work through that and kind of how can we help that child or a person manage themselves. So this is just a visual that is provided for the zones of regulation. It's kind of general for all ages. So the next slide is recently what we started using in preschool, just to show real life faces of the kids. So again, this whole program at this level is really to foster their ability to express various emotions throughout their day. And give them that opportunity to go over to their cubby or just go over to the wall and point to, I'm feeling this way. So some kids have, like you see the blank box, so there might be pictures and then they would take off. If they're feeling happy when they arrive to school, they would express themselves and over in the blank box if it's on visualized cubby or area at their table or wherever it might be. But we're giving them access to express themselves. How do we use and teach the zones? So again, we're introducing colors paired with emotions in each zone, and we're increasing their emotional vocabulary and body cues. So we just do this naturally. We use this when they're doing their reading. They might stop and pause and describe a character. Oh, the character might, you know, he seems really happy. You know, what zone might he be in? And we're really reinforcing that through stories as well as various lessons. I know Miss Lindsay at Warren Wolf just shared an activity that she's going to be doing. She had all different characters from different movies, and the kids had to sort it with what emotion, what zone they were in based on, you know, the facial cues of the different characters. So here's another example of how there might be a display or a way to express themselves. So they might be able to point to what zone they're in and then pick from a cup and maybe use a different tool. So again, a strategy or a way to handle themselves or better self-regulate themselves through that zone. And here's another way, there's the zones, visuals, and then a toolbox pictures, and then they would be able to flip their name and Velcro it and put it all around depending on how they're feeling throughout the day. So again, I feel like I keep saying this, but we're emphasizing that they can constantly check in with their teacher throughout the day. It doesn't need to be prompted, but we do like to keep it part of the routine. We want to emphasize that there's a right time for each zone, and no zone is bad. It's normal to feel mad. It's normal to feel sad. It's normal to feel tired. It's normal to feel frustrated. We all experience that. But we also have to understand that socially, we are expected to behave in these expected ways, and that does impact our learning and our social skills. So we're building, a big thing is we're building awareness of identifying body cues. I do this literally every day. When we exit the building at school, my daughter has a meltdown every single day, and she'll be like, I'm not mad, blah, blah, blah. And I said, put your hand on your heart. Is it going fast? And she'll say, yes. And I said, okay, now what is it? You're screaming, you're really loud. So you're really constantly describing what those body cues and how their facial expressions and body language and even their muscle tension, if their shoulders are all the way up here, you might say, well, why does your body look like this? Your body might be telling me that you might be in the red zone right now. You know, I want to help you if you're the teacher or the parent. You're building those body identification of body cues. And then how they can identify that only in themselves, but others. So if they see a friend who's experiencing an emotion that might be in the red zone, maybe it's not the best time to go over to them and ask them to, you know, just giving them their space and identifying that in their friends. Or if they see a friend that might be in the blue zone, you know, maybe it is an appropriate time to go over there them, hey, do you want to come over and play? Go do this with me. So it's really identifying their emotions in themselves and also others. Okay, so tools. What are the tools? Oh wait, can you go back one slide, Jack? I'm sorry. So blue zone tools are going to help wake your body up, feel better, and regain that focus. And green zone tools kind of are just, those things that we're doing as part of the curriculum that are just naturally occurring and proactive. So things like a lot of movement breaks, the freeze dance, good nutrition, good sleep. Those are all green zone tools. Yellow zone tools also help us regain control and calm ourselves. So maybe we're coming in from gross motor time and it's time to get ready for lunch and sit at our table. So we might do a little breathing activity to kind of regain that focus and calm ourselves down because we just got a little hyper on the playground. And red zone tools are really there to keep us safe and obviously calm down. So here are some tools that you might be able to use. So obviously, why might a kid have a hard time with impulse control, transitions, attention? Maybe there's some sensory supports that they can have. If they're having a hard time with car rides, maybe they can have a little lovey or a fidget toy for car rides to be kept in the house. Or maybe they have a really hard time, they're really hyper and active at night right before bed. So maybe some nice deep pressure lotion massages can be implemented part of their routine. Or quiet dimmed lights right before it's 10 minutes before bedtime. So using those sensory supports to kind of manage the various routines throughout your day. Some other calming techniques are a lot of breathing. So kids who are really having a hard time with, if they're in the red zone of breathing techniques, if you pair it with a visual, it kind of helps regulate the breathing. So they're not just, if you tell a kid to breathe, that's so maybe you're pulling out bubbles. Like I want you to take a deep breath and then blow out the bubbles, or take a deep breath, smell the flowers and blow out the candle. Or there's calming sequences that they do, lazy breathing. There's a visual that you can have on your fridge at home or in a quiet space in your bedroom or in your living room, and they can go over to it and start here and go. So it really helps, gives them those deep breaths, pairing something with that visual. Thinking strategies. I love thinking strategies for every age. If they're really upset over something, you can say, all right, okay, I see you're in the red zone. Is this a big problem or is this a little problem? And if they're like, big problem. Oh, is someone hurt? We need to go to the hospital? Who's hurt? Teaching them what a big problem is and what a little problem is so that they can start to cognitively think, oh, I might not need to react this way for the next time. If it's a little problem, oh, I spilled my milk. Okay, what can we do? You spilled your milk on yourself. Can we, get a napkin and clean it off? So working through those thought processes with them. And using things like, I love, there's I don't think I added this in the digital backpack, Jackie, but there's different superheroes that you can use and refer to. So Rock Brain is a character that thinks very rigidly. He has a hard time thinking flexibly. Mean Jean is not nice to her friends. So you can use those as part of social stories to kind of get through different difficulties. You can switch. So here are some other sensory supports that are more of those different, I love doing frog jump, frog hops, bear walks, gorilla shuffles. I use that in my house all the time. After dinner, we have this weird lag where we're cleaning up after dinner and they're kind of engaging in something. And then when I say, okay, it's bath time every single day, we have a hard transition. So we'll pick a different frog jump or animal walk to kind of get us physically to the next space, in place in our house or to the car or wherever you need to go. So here are some examples of that. Other sensory supports are noise canceling headphones. They sell them on Amazon, Calming and alerting music. Again, I love using calming music right before bed to kind of set the tone. Dim light, a tented area to provide for a child to kind of calm down during, a tantrum, or fidget toys. I love, you can even do that when they're having a hard time waiting, if they're in the car or whatever it might be. Sensory bins kind of go with that. I love using mind jars. You can take a water bottle or something sealed, and the child can create it with you, and you can shake it up, and it represents how they might be feeling, all mixed up and crazy. And then when they breathe and all of the glitter settles to the bottom, maybe in that time of calm breathing, they're able to kind of better regulate themselves. Yoga positions and breathing movements with that. And oral motor, I love oral motor as a sensory strategy. I use it a lot. Giving a child something like resistive or a lot of input in their mouth. I love like Twizzlers in the freezer to chew on, to kind of regain attention. We don't really get homework in preschool, but I know that for the virtual platform, it might be difficult. If you have to do virtual learning, I do lots of snacks, a lot of resistive smoothies out of thin straws, can kind of give that oral motor input for increased input. That's very calming. We as adults do this all the time. We might go like this, we might chew on a pen. So think about your own child needing that same input to pay attention. You might all be doing this right now. Here's some other, those are the visuals I was talking about. So you can see, you would point your finger and go through the breathing while you're pairing it with the visual. Okay, you can go to the next one. Again, this is another visual for size of the problem. Again, this program is for kids of all ages. So you might want to start off with your kiddo with a little problem and a big problem, and then you can kind of incorporate medium problems and explain that with them. Okay. So what can you do at home? Give yourself a pat on the back for coming tonight. Thank you. And you can practice identifying zones in yourself with your own kids. So you might say, Mommy is feeling sad because she doesn't want to leave you when you feel sick. I'm in the blue zone. Or you might just use it in yourself because, like I said, we're all human. Kids, adults, we all experience emotions. So just pointing that out to your own kids and pointing out those body cues and emotions. And I really do believe that this helps you as adults and your frustration and like challenges with your own. So if you're practicing it and you're modeling it to your child, like, let's take some breaths. A lot of times, sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times I do feel like you become calmer and your reaction to your child really can become a more positive experience getting through some of those tougher times. So using those tools, like those sensory tools, breathing, big versus little problem, all can be effective ways throughout your day at home. And remind yourself that of developmental level and be patient, because it's not always going to work, but if you're consistently allowing them to express themselves and providing a means of a more appropriate way to manage themselves, the hope is that they will develop it with consistency. They're still 3 and 4 and 5. And there's tons of resources. If you have any social media accounts, there's Facebook. If you just type in the hashtag on Instagram, hashtag zones of regulation, there's like a million things on there as far as different books you can be reading to your kids that really focus on different emotions, and sensory tools to use at home, and Pinterest, Twitter, all those resources, and zonesofregulation.com. And okay, you can skip this. And then Jackie had put it. Jackie, do you want to go over the digital backpack?
Sure. So here's just some helpful websites that will help with self-regulation as well. And then also on our school webpage, we have a digital backpack where all of our files go. So we've downloaded, we've put a couple things into the digital backpack. I'm going to put it in the chat right now, but you can always go back to if you click on this link, it will bring you to that folder right now. And it's that I am feeling picture and a bunch of other different resources. And then also, I don't know, Sarah, I was thinking like you can send me that superhero thing if you have, and we can add some more things if we want to too. So you can click on this link and it does not show you. So it goes to this. And so here's our presentation with all of our links and different things you can find. Things you want to print, zones of regulation, this how do I feel, the zones if you want to incorporate it in your home as well. And then this is just some, where we got a lot of our things. So learning self-regulation is the job of childhood, and they won't master them for a while, unfortunately, as much as we wish they would. We hope that you've learned some things to help you at home with your child and their self-regulation. And if there are any questions, you can always email us, call us. If you have some questions right now, we would love to hear them. All right, no questions. Thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate you spending this rainy evening with us. And again, reach out if you have any questions, and we're always here to help. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. Great job, ladies. Very good.
Sarah, I laughed to myself.